Hi there, I hope you all good and safe, and thank you for Modelsnet TV for having me here today. Um, I'm really happy to share with you a few stories from my journey as well as works I did in the past, and especially I will focus today on sharing with you my paintings. Um, so let's start with who am I? I'm an artist, born and bred in Romania. Recently I moved to London. Not that recent, it's been about 10 years. Time just goes fast. So, yes, I started here in England to study art, to study university, and where my artist journey began. So, I hope today you're going to enjoy this. If you're at home, if you are bored, or maybe just want to learn something creative, perhaps you could start doing something creative. So I'm happy to share with you all those things. So why am I an artist? That's one of the questions I'm asking myself. I asked myself in the past, and perhaps some other people will ask themselves, who are they? What is their passion? What do they really want to do? And I remember having this confusion for a very long time. So how did I come to conclusion that I am an artist? From my experience and my journey, the reason why I decided I'm an artist is because I didn't really have a choice. And I believe you can't really choose who you are. You can either accept it or run away from it. So I remember that I've been trying many things for 10 years, and it's a really good thing to try and do a lot of stuff. I tried being a chef, being a fashion designer, a bartender, a waitress, a cocktail waitress. I did many things, but they all had one thing in common. They were creative. There was something that was attracting me into creative stuff, into practical things. I was never good at school or learning. And I remember as a kid, and this is very important, if you can look back at your life, what you really, really enjoyed as a child. What was that thing that really gave you joy, and perhaps is still now in your life, but you're not giving it much attention. So I remember that even though I was doing all these things, I was always doing one thing that made me really, really happy, which was drawing. I was stressed, or I was upset, or I had a bad day. I used to take a paper and just like sketch something, and that thing was just making me disconnect from everything. But I never really wanted to give it a chance because probably perhaps my limited mentality at that time, or fear of how can I survive as an artist, how can I make money out of it, pay my bills, who will ever buy my art, and so many other things that perhaps you're asking yourself too, like, why would I do this? How can I make it? Is it really gonna work? Is anyone really gonna take me seriously? It's really tough out there in every single thing you'll try to do. But the only thing that will make you strive and it will make you be successful is your passion, because that is the biggest motivation you can get. And I will be happy to answer questions later. If you have any questions, I'm happy to do that. So my journey as an artist started 10 years ago, and here I am. I'm on it, and I'm very proudly to accept that I'm an artist finally, because I never really didn't want to be an artist. I had my ideas about what artists are in my head. And oh, hi Andreea, nice to see you. And Katrina, my friend from Philippines, Welcome, guys. Um, so, my journey as an artist has been crazy. Where we can start. I will talk a bit about the standardized education, university, courses, colleges, whatever you think it might help you on your journey to achieve your goal. As an artist, I don't want to discourage anybody not to study or not to go to universities. If you can, go. Even if you think you're a fashion designer or you're a chef, but you're not sure if you really want to do it, try and do whatever you think it's going to work, because only trying will eventually put you on the right path. So what I think about universities and studies, and I've been myself to university, is that they will give you a platform for discipline, for knowledge, and for skills. So you can, as an artist, if you go to university, it will help you with discipline. Hi Martin, how are you? Thanks for watching. Martin is also an artist. We did an exhibition recently. That's how we met. He's an amazing artist, so please visit his Facebook page. You're gonna love his artwork. It's very different, surreal, and he does some great artwork. So, sorry, back to standardized education. So, discipline, knowledge, of course. I believe in terms of knowledge, if you really want to know, you can study in your time, you can read books, you can find out about, in my case, what other artists did. And skills. Skills are very important. Let's talk about skills. As an artist, you can develop those skills, those techniques, and they're very important, because if you go with your artwork to a gallery, or you want to sell it, or you want to exhibit it, people will want to see something different and something great and well painted or well designed, and that comes with great skills and a lot of practice. And of course, if you have also developed your unique technique, that's even more amazing, because you will have again something different, and well, it's like your tool. Now, so if you go to university, you will sit in a class probably with other students, with a teacher, someone that could guide you. So you could see what other people do. You can work in a group. It's a great energy. Everybody's there working towards that goal. It will give you more focus. Also, skills, as I said, are very important. But something which we call talent, I believe it cannot be learned. And don't ever think you don't have a talent. You might have a talent, but it's not discovered yet. And you can discover it. You can let it out by practicing a lot and by doing the things you feel they're right. So what is creativity and what is talent? Creativity, for me, it's like faith. You have it, you feel it, you have to believe in it, and you have to practice it. It's almost like going to church, like faith. So that's what creativity is. So we all creative. Like Picasso said that everybody's born creative. The problem is how they're going to stay creative when they grow up. And that's one of my favorite quotes. You can be creative with different things, with different materials. You can find what you like to be creative with, food, anything you can imagine. You can start making rugs, or maybe pet clothes, who knows. What your passion might be. Another question that I was recently asked by Models Net TV was what kind of artist I am. And that is for me a very difficult question, because I don't like to put myself in a category, because I believe that will limit me. And I like to stay open. I like to stay open about the things I create, the tools I use. For example, in university, they will give you a brush and they will say, okay, this is a acrylic brush, or probably the brands that are selling different paints and brushes. You go into the art store and you find like shelves saying acrylic brushes, oil paint brushes. I like to break those limits. I like to take the oil brush, or I like to take even sometimes I know this is funny, but this is a cooking tool, spatula. I use this in my paintings, you know, because I think you're really free in art to do anything you want. And I don't like to limit myself in terms of that, or to put myself in a category and say, this is what I am. I always stay open, prepared to learn new things, to develop my skills in a new way. And of course, I want people to see in me and understand in me what they really want, and not what I tell them that I am. That's very important. My inspiration is mainly about surreal worlds. I like to believe that perhaps in my imagination, or they exist. So I like making a lot of portraits that describe a figure of a extraterrestrial person, something that doesn't exist, like a blue person. So I like to challenge that human aspect into a different way, into a more creative way and a surreal way. I can't really define my style so far. I did different things. I did, if you look at my artwork, you can see a lot of pop, you can see collage, you can see surreal, you can see different things in one. So I wasn't able so far to put my finger on it and say this is what it is, as well as I am not so good at talking about my art. I think I'm better at making it. But I can talk about my inspirations. Something I was recently very interested in is something called the Hue Rotation. Hue Rotation is light spectrum, or a rainbow as we know it. So the Hue Rotation is a rainbow in a color cycle, but it has more gradients, more light to it. Something like you can see in my painting around the eye of the face I made. So I'm really interested in this Hue Rotation because certain LED lights work with the Hue Rotation, so in a cycle. Also, which I've been using in my art. Also, I'm interested to see how this kind of light will work with different filters. So, for example, if you imagine a yellow bulb with a red filter on top, what we see is not yellow anymore. We might see green, or we might see a different color. So imagine when the bulb behind the light of the bulb behind is continuously changing. So it goes through yellow, red, and so on. So it's continuously moving. We are going to have different filters in front of the light. So we're going to see simultaneously different colors moving. So I like to experiment with that, and in another video I will show you how that works. And this at the moment is my main inspiration. It's my signature, I could say, in the art I did so far. So I like to share with you some artwork that I did, and some of the paintings I did. It took me a very long time. I move much faster now. But one of my first paintings I did took me about 10 years. So I'm happy to share that with you now. So this is my first painting that took me 10 years to make. It was not 10 years of continuous work. It was only created in moments of inspiration. I like to work in opposition, light and dark, sun and moon, night and day. These are the little characters I created. I call them little monsters. And it's like a fantasy world. And similar to this, my next painting which I'm still working on. It didn't take me 10 years like the other one. Will be nice to know what you guys think about this. I would really like your feedback. If you like it, if you see anything interesting, if there's something you don't like. As I said, I'm still working on it, but you can see the light spectrum, like I was saying before. We have again the opposition of dark, sad and happy light. And again, what I was telling you before about the Hue Rotation. So this is the Hue Rotation here. What I'm going to experiment with this is to see what happens when different color light cycles will interact with this, and then the paint will interact with the light, and every time we have a new color in the light, we have a kind of a new painting. Some other things I did in the past were trying to work with texture, getting like organic kind of feeling. And the reason why I did this was also to experiment how the texture interacts with light. We can see now, because I have white light, what happens, but also with different kind of lights, it looks really nice. That is another one. This is just something different. In another video I will show you some of the drawings I made, as well as my sculptures. If you guys have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Talking about my technique, well, I started painting with acrylic. Now there's different paints you can use. You can use oil paint, acrylic paint, watercolors. There's two types of acrylic too. There's like a liquid acrylic as well as a paste, which normally is used for painting. The liquid acrylic is more of a pouring paint, which people are using it to pour it and do different things. When I started painting, I didn't know much about what paint to use, what brushes to use, what paper to use. There's so many out there. Sometimes it's a bit confusing. So if you are planning to paint and if you have any questions, I will be happy to share my knowledge, what I've learned so far. I will say that when a gallery looks at your artwork, if they want to buy it, or even to give it to someone, but most importantly to make it. If you make it, you want to make something that lasts for a very long time, something that has durability, and that is very important, because if you make something that let's say in a year or 2 years will start degrading, fading, losing color, then you know, if we look at some of the biggest artists from centuries ago, we are lucky to still have their work because it was made in a durable way using oils. And oil paint is known to last the longest so far. And the reason why we know that is because it's been around for a very long time. We can't say the same thing about new paints because it hasn't been 1,000 years since it's been made for us to say it lasts that long. But of course they can make tests and see in a shorter time how the color evolves, if it fades, if it does certain things. So I would say that oil is the most durable that you will find on the market, and if you want to do a painting that is going to last almost forever, oil could be a good idea. Now, depending on the environment you have, if you planning to do it at home, it's not a good idea because it's used with different solvents which are pretty strong, and you don't want to kind of do that in your house unless it's like a different room and you can air the room. With acrylic, it's much more easier in that way. It doesn't smell, so you won't have that any kind of problem. Acrylic is made from a type of plastic, so it's also very durable. So galleries will be very happy to accept any acrylic or oil paintings. Now, the difference, one difference between oil paint and acrylic paint is that is of the transparency as well as the pigment. And you will find some beautiful, beautiful paints out there, probably a little bit more expensive, like I don't want to say brand names, but if you're gonna go to the art store, you will see some beautiful shades there. Acrylic, a good acrylic paint should have a bit of transparency, because that's the difference between paint, like oil paint and acrylic paint. So you should have a bit more transparency, but still should be thick and nice. And when you dip your brush into the water and then mix into the color, you shouldn't have a watery content straight away, because that will require you to do a lot of layering unless you prefer to do it that way. And I like to work with thicker paint because I work with texture. I work with acrylic, so the paintings behind me are acrylic, but they have a lot of texture, because what happens when you make a painting, you should build it in layers. So you start with the first layer, and once that layer dries out, you build onto the next layer. So this way you create the volume, the shades, you add light and dark, and you giving it that 3D look. Okay, so that's how you work a painting. If you were to make a drawing, you will take a pen and you will draw it, and it will be done when you finished. If you make a painting, you won't be able to do it in a day. Never. And you could never actually finish a painting. A painting can only be abandoned, never ever finished. There's always something you can add because you work in layers. So imagine I make a dark dot, a perfectly round dark dot, and I could say it's finished if I decide to, and I could also add something to it if I want. So once it's dried, probably it's not going to be the same day because you need to allow it some time to dry. If you're going to start building on it, you could perhaps make another circle inside of it, white. And I can say I'm done, or I can let it dry, and next day I decide I can add another layer, which is going to be another circle, red circle in the middle. And I can keep going like that until I achieve the shape I want to achieve, or the artwork, or whatever you want to do. So that's how it works, just layers, 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 layers. And you can do that forever. Sometimes you can make it all white or all black and start again. That's how you correct a mistake. If you painted something you're not happy about and it's too late because it's dried, you can't really erase it, but you can paint over it and you can cover it and then restart again. So that's why sometimes it takes such a long time, because combining all the elements, especially working in details, when you make a huge painting and you want to make a flower, you have to make for that flower so many layers, and you have to use a very thin brush to make those layers. And you'll start with a bigger brush and you will draw the outline, and you'll make a drawing on a canvas. You'll have a canvas, you'll make a drawing, and then you'll put your first layer, and then you'll start building on that, and then you go smaller, 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 more details, and then boom, like here. So probably apart from this part where I did like a line of color and it dried out this way, and I want it this way, so I'll leave it this way. In other places, like here, you will start with a layer of green, and then you make the shades, and then you make the lighter one, and then you build the leaves. Same for the flowers. The base of the little colorful dots was white, and once the white is dried, I did the color. Same here, that was darker blue, and once was dried out, I made the whiter lines on top. But now if I want to make maybe more dots or anything I want to build on top of this, I could make like right here, and I can continually add layers until I'm happy with that, and it's complete to me. It just needs to make sense for you. This is a much more busier painting. So there's a lot of flowers here. It took me a very long time to make all these details. And I can't even tell you how many times I changed my mind and I did something else, and I didn't like it and I painted something else over it, and so on. And if you ask me, even now I don't feel like it's completely complete. But I know I just have to stop, otherwise I will never stop. And then sometimes you can overdo it and then it gets too busy. There's a little guy saying hello. There's another one there. So these are some little monsters. There's the sky, like a planet. Planets, universes, galaxies, whatever you want to call it. This is some flying fish, I guess. And you know, it was really funny because I did this painting. As I said to you, I was working on it for 10 years. And the evening I was finishing it, I had some friends over, and I was just about to finish it after 10 years. And one of my friends said, "Please, can you make me a portrait? Can you make me in the painting too?" So I made him the portrait. He's right there. So maybe if you want, I can put you in my next painting. Another thing that I like to talk to you is the importance of signing artwork. Before, when I was making art, I didn't really sign myself because I felt like writing something on the painting, it takes away from the image, because you have the picture you've been making, and if you would write something on it, I didn't like the idea. I wanted to have a clean, nice image. But over the years I understood the importance of signing a piece of art. It's almost like acknowledging your work for yourself. That is very important, that you are proud of your work and you write your name there. You have to value for you and then for others. And then another thing is that if you don't sign your work, after a long time, when people might find it, maybe you'll be so known that they will know your technique and they will say, this is, we know this artist, but it's very important, if you can, to sign your artwork so people will know whose artwork is. And of course, as well, if you want to sell it, and you sell it to someone and maybe they will forget your name, or someone will come to their house and they will see the painting, it's nice for them to see your name there. Maybe they could look for you and find out who you are, because they really, really like your artwork. So if you like, I could actually paint something for you today. So let's see. I'm not so sure. What do you guys think? Um, so today was more about introducing myself and letting you know who I am, if I exist. You're probably going to hear from me again. I'm happy to share with you in the future more work that I did, my sculptures with light. I hope you are not having a hard time in quarantine. I know at the moment it's very difficult for some people to stay at home. And at the beginning was quite easy for me because I'm used to spend most of my time indoors. I'm someone who likes to stay home and paint or do something creative. Of course, I enjoy going outdoor like everyone else, but I'm quite used with this lifestyle. But I know that some of you really like to go out and be social and enjoy restaurants and nightclubs. There's so many things that people can't do now because they're being at home. And also it's very important, who do you share your house with? If you're in an unhappy relationship, or I hope not, or hopefully you are with someone that makes you happy, and or a friend, or maybe some friends, or perhaps you're alone and you're enjoying that. I really hope you're happy right now. And even though you're getting bored, a little walk, if you can, a little exercise really helps. From my experience, I decided to just walk around the blocks here, just move a little bit and come back home and feel refreshed. Also, I've been cooking a lot. It's a great time for you to learn cooking. If you like cooking, or if you really hate it, don't try it. If you think it's something you might enjoy, it's great. In London here, life is quite busy, and I think some people will enjoy a little break from this hectic lifestyle. They could read more, they could cook, focus on the things that perhaps we think in our life that they're not so important, because they're just details, they're the simple things. And then when you start making more of those things and less of the things you were doing before, you're starting to appreciate them in a new way and realize that simple life could bring you happiness and peace. So it's a great time to be creative, to rethink what you really want, to rethink if you're happy where you are. Perhaps you want to do some changes in your life, as I heard a lot of people are doing that right now. They're reconsidering their jobs, their lifestyle, their diet. Even myself, I have more time, so I have more time to... I'm trying to become a vegan. It's not an easy process. I've been a vegetarian for 2 years. But, becoming a vegan, it's like... requires a lot of how can I say, nutrition knowledge, cooking skills, good quality ingredients. So perhaps during this quarantine, some food is limited. You go to the supermarket, you can't find all the vegetables and all the fruits, or you don't want to go. I don't want to go out that much, so I try to cook with what I have instead of thinking of something I want to cook and get the ingredients like I was doing before. I prefer now to look at what I have and cook with what I have. So completely radically changing my diet now the situation wouldn't really help me. It's also good to do it gradually, but reading about it, focusing on introducing some new things in my diet, like natural protein. This is something I wasn't eating so much before, like nuts and seeds, and these are really important. So I do have time, and I think we all have more time to focus on the things we didn't have time before to do it. So if you look at it this way, then you could achieve great things with this time that you have right now. Exercising, some of us have really small space, and I understand that, but the skipping rope really helps. And skipping rope is something that puts your whole body into movement. Now, if you have neighbors underneath you, you might not want to do that. Jump on their head all day, but you can do some maybe yoga, or you can still do some gymnastics. So these are some really good things that I found recently in my life, with all this time, that I can give them more attention and focus than before, which is great. Cleaning, I'm sure everybody's cleaning, sorting out your wardrobe, thinking of the things you didn't want to wear anymore, and it really helps. Cleaning really gives you a bit of energy. Like, I used to have like a morning routine to wake up and just clean. I know it sounds weird, but I will wake up, I will have my breakfast, and then I will just like clean or just rearrange things, and it gives me that feeling of freshness and new energy into my house. It makes me feel good. So you can clean, you can cook, you can do like things you will never probably do, but it can be fun. Getting in touch with people, and this is a great time to get in touch with the people you you always wanted to get in touch, or you're thinking about them. Maybe you're worrying about them, you want to know if they're okay, and we all do this. And thanks to technology now, with our phones, we can reach to people anywhere in the world, and it's cheap and it's free. I remember when I was a kid, we used to have a landline phone. I grew up with my grandparents, and we used to have a landline, and we would wait for some relatives to call us, like for a month or two, or we would call them, but you know, it was quite expensive to call abroad, so it wasn't like now with a single click you get in touch with anyone. So it's a good thing, but it could also be an exhausting thing, because you might have to talk with a lot of people at the same time, and you might end up probably all day on your phone, and you think, oh my god, I've been all day on my phone, I need to like make a phone detox, or I'm staying too much on my phone, I'm staying too much on social media, too much on Instagram. It's so easy to lose your focus. You go on your, I do that sometimes. I go on my phone to like check a message or do something, and next minute I know I get a notification from somewhere, and I'm checking that, and then I get an idea to research about something else from that, and the next minute I know I forgot the reason why I took my phone, and I ended up doing totally something else. So if you're really aware of how you use technology, and think of the people who you really want to talk to, it could be a great tool, but also make sure to use your time for yourself, and for those things, for those little things that you might think they're not important, but they actually are, and they are giving us joy. Of course, making something creative, writing, starting a journal, documenting. These times are going to be in history forever, you know. And we're going to talk to our children about this, to our grandkids. You could take notes of your experience and share it with other people. You could start your own channel. You could share with people the skills you have, the knowledge you have, your interests. You could, I forgot to mention before, you could fix any relationships you have with your family or with friends. that you weren't talking, or you know, sometimes people have silly arguments with people and then they don't speak with each other. And even though you might be ignoring that thing for a while, it's somewhere in the back of your mind and it bothers you. So it's a great time to clean that baggage from your life, and maybe make a list with the things you'd like to improve in your life, and reflect on that and think, what are the steps that require you time, because now you have time and you can achieve those things by using your time, because we have plenty time. And remember, this is not going to last forever, and there are many great people, good people out there that are going to help this community, and you can get yourself involved in things like that. Sharing food to people in need. Find out the things that are needed in your community. There's so much right now. People go and work in supermarkets, and you can also earn a little bit if you're in a situation you need money. There are so many things you can do to help those people that are in need right now, and there will always be someone that needs your help. Of course, take care of yourself. I know some people think, oh, it's not that bad. Some people, they're still there thinking that you shouldn't really protect yourself and that's okay. Or some people are in this right now and they didn't realize it will get this bad, and they were unprepared. They didn't have a face mask, they didn't have a disinfectant, or I hope you have hand soap. So document yourself how was the best way to protect yourself, and don't wear a scarf around your face, because that's not going to help you. I see people doing that. So please really read about the face masks you are using, because some people out there just selling some face masks that are not really doing anything. So you really have to read the code on the package to see if it's like approved. It should have a code from European law or whatever the law in your country is, where it says if it's approved by the government and if it's in the standards, as well as if it's good enough, because this virus, it's a very fine particle which goes through layers of fabric, through layers of stuff. You might think it protects you, and you will not. So that's why some people use a filter face mask that normally is used for pollution, because pollution is also a very fine particle. And even that will protect you probably 95%. So touching your ears, touching your nose, touching your mouth. So I have a question here. Hi, do you need to be in a specific mood in order to create? Thank you, that's a very good question, Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Andrea is my cousin. Do you need to be driven by intense feelings in the process of creating? I'm very happy to answer to that question. That's a very good question. Yes, you should definitely be in a good mood to create, or in a specific mood. There's different moods that drive people to create. One can be happiness, and the other one can be sadness. As we heard many songs of from different artists about heartaches and sadness and losing someone. You know, the moment they created that song, or maybe a really sad piece of art that just gives you that feeling, you can almost feel their ache. That's someone that created in a of course it should be an intense feeling, even though it's happy or sad. So they probably created in a moment where they were really broken, so they really had to let that feeling out. And what artists do when they express themselves, and this is for any kind of artist, musician, dancer, painter, whatever artist, we are best at expressing ourselves through art, through a tool, through music, through this. So if you have that strong emotion inside you and you have to let it out in that moment, that's when you're going to put it best into what are you doing. And there's a different type of inspiration, which is the inspiration of happiness. When you're perhaps in love, or you're extremely excited, or maybe even the weather, it's a really sunny day and you have such a great mood and you feel so good, and all you want to do is paint something, when you just get an inspiration. People around you can influence you as well. Being around certain people, you know, they might give you a good feeling, they might give you a great energy, and there's some people that will drain you. And when you get drained, you don't feel like creating. So be careful the people around you, you know. Because I'm not saying don't go and blame your girlfriend or boyfriend now. I knew it because of you. You know, be reasonable about that, but be careful because some people around you might drain you, and that might be confusing for you at this stage, not knowing how to get your inspiration. Maybe stress can also affect that. You really need to find out what it works for you. And there's now, once you understand what inspires you and what is taking your inspiration away, once you're aware of that, then you can learn how to induce yourself into inspiration mode. So how I learned that is, for 10 years I did one single painting. And hi Anna, how you doing? Thanks for watching. So for 10 years I did one painting because I was waiting for the inspiration to come. Because I didn't want to paint when I didn't feel like painting, because I was afraid I'm going to ruin the painting. So I was waiting for the inspiration to come. After a very long time, 10 years, I realized what inspires me and what takes my inspiration away. And in this way, I learned how to put myself in a situation from where I could get inspired, around people who inspire me. Create even my environment at home in a balanced way that will make me feel inspired. Of course, going to an exhibition could inspire you. I tried to avoid that for a long time because I did not want subconsciously to absorb what other artists do and put it into my art, because I believe you get affected in that way. Artists by nature have a very absorbent nature, because we collect informations around us, details. You might not realize that, but your subconscious works that way. So every little thing you analyze, in your head, it recreates something else. So I think that's how my brain works, and I try to stay away from what other artists do, because I don't want to get influenced by their style, even though I appreciate very much what they do. And I try to let my inspiration come from myself. So yes, you can put yourself in a situation, even though you don't feel inspired that moment, you can bring somehow your inspiration. It's not going to be the same as when you're just exploding of energy, you know, it's not going to be the same. But depends what you want to achieve. Because in a painting, if you have the main idea, which is the most important, and you need the inspiration from that, the rest of it is a process of work and details. So you can actually compromise on that and work on it when you're less inspired, because becomes more technical. So on the technical side, you can compromise. You don't need that much inspiration. Or with experience, you build your technique and you already kind of know what you need to do instinctively. and knowledgeably. But yes, inspiration is a very important thing, and that is the reason why many creative people get stuck for years. And I've seen creative people that almost quit what they're doing because they thought, oh my god, I didn't feel like I want to do anything for a year or 2 years. That means I'm not really good at it, or I'm not an artist. So they just decided to quit, to give up, because they thought something is wrong with them, because they really didn't understand how inspiration works. So you need to understand how inspiration works. Is something almost uncontrollable. You can still work with it somehow, fool it, let's say, this way. So thank you very much for the question, Andrea. Was a very good question. So it's a really pleasure to talk to you today. I hope you learned something from me, and I really hope that whatever is it that you're doing, it doesn't necessarily needs to be to do with art. If you're having hard time finding what your passion is, what you really your purpose is, that is more important than your passion. If you're thinking, what are you meant to do? Or if you're thinking you want to achieve money, don't think about the money. I know that money are important to a certain level. They are a tool in this society. They give you a certain level of comfort, and they can also be very good if you want to help someone or do something, or perhaps invest in yourself, and then you will do something that will inspire other people. Or money can be good, but don't think, I want to do this for money because I want a luxurious life, I want to have all these objects, I want to have all these things, because money don't bring the ultimate happiness. And I know we hear this all the time, blah blah blah, money don't bring happiness, yeah, la 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 la. Well, do I have so much money to talk and say how much happiness money brings? No, I don't. And I'm sure even if you're very rich, you can be happy or sad, both, happy or unhappy. But I know one thing, that if I can be happy without money, I can be happy with money. And that's how I look at things. Because if I don't have money, I only pay my rent and do certain things like survival mode. But I do what I love. For me, it's a huge achievement, and it makes me happy. And it was not easy for me to find my purpose and find out what I want. It was crazy. If you really want to find out what is it that your passion is, be honest with yourself. Don't limit yourself. Look at the things you were enjoying when you were a kid. Find out what is that thing in your life that makes you happy. That thing you put in a corner and you maybe not paying it too much attention because you're saying to yourself, this will never be possible. I always thought I could never be an artist and survive from art. Who's gonna buy art? Artists die hungry. Artists have a miserable life. Well, I was silly to think that, because there's many successful artists and very rich artists. So whatever you want to do, it's possible, And don't let other people influence you and tell you, don't do that, or you should do that, It's nice if people are encouraging you. It's nice to try a lot of things, so you understand how you're like, and you learn something from there. You learn how to work with people. And while you're trying something else, you might discover what is it really that you like, or you might get an idea how to make your passion happen, how to make that thing real. Because you might meet someone, or you might see something, and you might think, you know what, if they're doing it this way and they're successful at it, I can make it, I can do it. And give it a chance. And if you give it a chance, and it just blooms, then you know you chose the right thing. It blooms and it just gives you so much courage. But at the same time, it becomes extremely difficult. So on one hand, it's very easy and it's flowing. On the other thing, there's a lot of challenges. But those challenges are not really challenges. Those challenges are meant to motivate you, because you can take those challenges, take it and snap with it. You can turn them into your motivation. And that is only because you are passionate about it and you are motivated, and that will be the only reason they will motivate you. The love for the thing that you do. If you don't have that thing, that love, that enjoyment in something you do, it will be almost like struggling for you. It will be hard, it will be stressful, it will be unsatisfying. You'll be like, I have to deal with this again, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and then I can't now, my mom, my dad, my kids, I can't deal with this right now, too much, I gotta focus. It will mess up your whole life. When you're doing something that you love, you wake up and you think, oh my god, today is the best day. It's like having fun when you're a kid. I'm about to go and, I don't know, play in the park or do something fun, go to like the feeling when you were about to go in a trip when you were a kid at school, and it was so exciting. I remember waking up and thinking, today I'm gonna go in that school trip I was waiting for such a long time. It's finally happening. It was so exciting. I get the same exciting feeling now as I grow up when I wake up and I think, today I'm going to paint. Because for me it's like having fun. I'm enjoying it, my passion. Some people might be like, I hate it, like it's boring. How you even do it? I don't have the patience for this, Like if you will make me do something else, I'll probably be the same. Because it's not my thing, it's not my passion, it's not what I love doing. If you find that thing that gives you that happiness, that fulfillment, I guarantee you will give everything you have to it. Everything, completely. And it's not going to be easy, because you will have to make a choice every time. You'll have to choose between something you love and something you could do, and it could be nice, but when you have in front of it something you really love, you will always go for the thing you love, because it's just happening automatically. So you're starting to remove from your life all those things that don't matter so much, and it didn't matter, but you were being feeding on them, because somehow in your head you think, I need to make this happen because I need to make money, because I need to buy this or I need to buy that, or because that will take me somewhere, or so many reasons that you are fighting for to achieve in your life, which are not the right reasons. When you're doing the right thing and when you're doing what you love, then everything else that's not right in your life will fade away. Wrong lifestyles, wrong diets, friends, and the things that are really important, they will grow, they will improve. And then you will also think, what are those things that you need to work on to make you grow and be an example in what you do, or learn how to be better at what you do, because you will continuously grow. You start from somewhere and you might think, oh my god, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance, I'm gonna do it, finally, it's something what I like, but it's not good enough. Who's gonna look at this? Don't judge it so quick. You need to give it a little bit of time, invest some time in it, and some whatever needs to be invested, and it will start growing. It will start growing, and you will become better and better, and you will become better at it. And some other people, this is the most satisfaction that I have from this, is that by being myself, by embracing who I am and what I like to do and my passion, I can motivate others to follow their passion. They don't need to be an artist like me. They can be a florist if they want, you know, because I have that joy of doing what I love. I want to share it with everyone, and I want them to feel this feeling. It's a great feeling. And once you're on the right path, once you're doing what you love, you will want to motivate and inspire others, and you will have a huge satisfaction out of this, as well as many others. So if you're in quarantine right now and you're trying to figure out what's wrong in your life, what hasn't worked, why is your job making you unhappy, what is it that it's really, really stopping you from doing what you love, what is it that is limiting you from choosing to do something you like but you think it will never work. Stop removing those negative thoughts and give it a chance, and adjust everything in your life in order to make this happen. And I promise you, I guarantee you, it will happen. If you want to make a positive change in your life right now, really look inside your heart and be honest with yourself. You don't need to share it with anyone else, not even with me. You can write it down in a journal and read it to yourself, and read your own words to yourself, and you will understand it better. Just write there, what are 5 of your favorite things to do? Something that brings you joy in your life, and think about how you can master that, how you can inspire people with that. And go ahead and try it. Once all this quarantine is over, or perhaps you can do it at home right now, go ahead and try it. And see how it makes you feel and what is happening to you. And I really hope that this quarantine will be finished soon, that we will get back to our lives, and we will get back to our lives with a different perspective and a view on our lives, on the things we were doing, on the things we want to do, on the people we want to hang out and have into our life, on the relationships that work or don't work, on the new places we want to visit, because this world is beautiful and will be really nice to travel and discover more. Now we see how it's like to be restricted and not be able to do that. So if we ever have the chance again, I think we should go for it and enjoy our life, because it's short and it's not worth it to just do something that makes you unhappy. Do something that makes you happy is the most important thing. So we got plenty of time to reflect on that. Even myself, I have a lot of work to do, and I just want to keep inspiring people, and hopefully I'm able to do that. If you have any other questions, I will be happy to answer right now. Anybody? If not, I thank you very much for watching today. I'm looking forward to see you soon again. I mean, you to see me. Yeah, it would be nice if I could see the people I'm talking to, but it doesn't work that way. Thank you once again for coming here today to see me, to my friends, family, from Philippines, London, Romania. Hello to everybody, anywhere you are. Radauți, yes, my hometown. Hi Mihai, Buna. Hi Karen. Hi everyone. I thank you all for watching. For those who are still watching, it was a pleasure to share with you, and I know I'm not always right and I don't know everything. I'm still learning. This is only what I experienced so far. Martin, thank you for watching so much. I hope to share with you some more artwork next time. I really like to share with you some of the artwork I did with light, and I had an exhibition with Martin at the New Artist Fair in September. We are stuck here, we can only create, but I hope soon I will make an exhibition again. I love sharing my art with people and meeting other artists. They're kind of crazy and eccentric. I'm joking. Martin is a great artist. You should visit his Facebook and see his artwork. He's a great artist, and that's what it's beautiful as well about doing things you like, that you will meet more people like you, or better than you, or less better than you. Who knows? We're always continuously moving. We never stop anywhere. So there's always going to be better artists, and I can't say really that better or worse artists. An artist is an artist. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, and I wish you all the best. I will see you soon. Until then, try doing something creative and let me know how it goes. All the best. Ciao.